Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Valsa Williams and with me is R.S. Raghu with the evening news. The headlines. Over 92,000 crore rupees disbursed under 100% emergency credit line guarantee scheme by public and private sector banks. Railways further revises freight policy during Unlock 3.0 to promote economic activities. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 66.30%. Ayodhya fully geared up for Ram Janmabhoomi Pujan tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to take part. And relief and rescue operation intensified in flood-affected areas of Bihar. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said over 92,000 crore rupees have already been disbursed under 100% Emergency Credit Line Guarantee (ECLG) scheme by public and private sector banks as of yesterday. The government has sanctioned a total of 1,37,586 crore rupees. Our correspondent reports the scheme would be applicable to all loans sanctioned under ECLG during the period from May the 23rd this year till the 31st of October this year, or till an amount of 3 lakh crore rupees is sanctioned. The scheme was announced with an aim to mitigate the economic distress caused by COVID-19 and the consequent lockdown. It also aims to provide additional credit to the MSMEs and business enterprises to meet their operational liabilities and revive their businesses. Indian Railways has further revised its freight policy during Unlock 3.0 to promote economic activities. The Railways Ministry said more relaxations have been provided to the customers through a slew of incentives. These incentives are expected to boost the economy. The Ministry said Railways is on a mission mode to boost freight traffic. In spite of COVID challenges, the Railways has already overtaken freight loading figures of the same period last year. Stabling charge will not be levied on container traffic till the 31st of October. Terminal charge will not be levied on traffic booked from alternate goods sheds instead of identified busy goods shed. A concession of 40% is given for loading in open wagons covered with tarpaulin.
The Women Entrepreneurship and Empowerment V Cohort initiative helps women ranging from college-going students to middle-aged housewives to take up entrepreneurship as a viable, fulfilling career option. It is India's first of its kind initiative to strengthen women's ecosystem at IIT Delhi, supported and sponsored by the Department of Science and Technology. Meghna Gandhi is one of the winners at the V Cohort initiative. She is the founder and creative director at Ribbon Candy, which is a homegrown label that makes handmade apparel and accessories for girls. She has worked with underprivileged women in Vadodara during the COVID-19 lockdown and had created natural textiles and COVID-19 related accessories. Talking to AIR News, Ms. Gandhi said Ribbon Candy works closely with underprivileged women. More than 30 such women have benefited from the initiative.
The mentorship program by V Foundation is a great place to meet and interact with like-minded women entrepreneurs. Since all of us have had the same set of challenges at one point or another, the interactions and discussions were invaluable. The faculty and guest lecturers were the best in their field and they gave us in-depth insights on various entrepreneurial aspects, challenges and how to face them. The entire experience was incredible, where my confidence increased and I was more ready as an entrepreneur. These learnings will surely be helpful for a long time to come.
The COVID-19 recovered cases are now double of active cases in the country. Currently, the recovered cases are over 12.30 lakh. With this, the recovery rate has gone up to an impressive 66.30%. The fatality rate is also the lowest at 2.10% since the first lockdown. Briefing media in New Delhi today, Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan said the fatality rate has seen a progressive decline and it is continuing.
भारतवर्ष में अब तक हमने 2 करोड़ टेस्ट कर लिए हैं. इसमें RT-PCR और रैपिड एंटीजन टेस्ट शामिल हैं। पिछले 24 घंटों में हमने 6,60,000 टेस्ट देश भर में किए और जो रिकवर्ड केसेस हैं उनकी संख्या अब एक्टिव केसेस के दुगने से भी ज्यादा हो गई है और जो केस फेटिलिटी रेट है इस समय देश में वो पहले लॉकडाउन के समय से यानी 25 मार्च के समय से लेकर अब तक सबसे कम बिंदु पर है।
The Secretary also said around 50% of deaths due to COVID-19 in India have taken place in the age group of 60 years and above. About 37% deaths have taken place in the age group of 45 to 60 years. Mr. Bhushan informed that about 68% of COVID-19 deaths have been reported among male patients and 32% among female patients in India. The Secretary said 28 states and union territories have a COVID-19 positivity rate of less than 10%, while India's positivity rate as on date is 8.89%. Replying to a question, he said the coronavirus infection has spread to new areas in the country, but 82% of the total cases are still limited to 10 states and union territories. He added that 50 districts today account for 66% of the COVID-19 caseload in the country. Director General ICMR Dr. Balram Bhargav informed about the development of vaccines in the country.
At present, we have 3 Indian vaccines which are in different phases of clinical testing. The first one is the inactivated virus vaccine, which is the Bharat Biotech vaccine, which has completed its phase 1 study in 11 sites and has started its phase 2 study. Similarly, for the DNA vaccine of Zydus Cadila, India has completed the phase 1 and has embarked on the phase 2 of study at 11 sites. Third vaccine which got its approval is the recombinant Oxford vaccine being manufactured by Serum Institute of India, which has got approval for phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trials.
Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister Dharmendra Pradhan has tested positive for COVID-19 and has been admitted to a hospital. In a tweet, Mr. Pradhan said after seeing symptoms of COVID-19, he got himself tested and the report has come positive. He said on the advice of doctors, he has been admitted to hospital. The minister said he is healthy. Mr. Pradhan is the second union minister in the cabinet to test positive for COVID-19. Earlier, Home Minister Amit Shah had tested positive and was admitted to hospital.
A total of 674 new confirmed cases of novel coronavirus have been reported in Delhi during the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to 1,39,156. Delhi government has confirmed that over 1,25,000 people affected with coronavirus have been cured so far. In the last 24 hours, 972 people have recovered and 12 deaths were reported in the national capital, taking the toll to 4,033. Presently, the total number of active corona cases in the national capital is 9,897. Union Home Secretary Ajay Kumar Bhalla today chaired a high-level meeting to review the management of COVID-19 in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Union Home Secretary, while reviewing the COVID death audit report, observed that most of the critical patients die within 72 hours of hospitalization. He emphasized on the need to tackle the issue. Regarding the testing capacities, Chief Secretary said that the related infrastructure has been ramped up and against the WHO recommendation of 140 tests per million population per day, J&K is now conducting 900 tests per million per day. For this, 5 additional testing laboratories, 4 CBNAT facilities and 15 TrueNAT laboratories were established in government medical institutions, besides augmenting the RT-PCR tests with rapid antigen tests. Further, government is also in the process to enhance per-day testing capacity. Chief Secretary further informed that the government has recently revised home quarantine guidelines to permit such isolation in favor of asymptomatic patients with no comorbidity. Arogya Setu app should be downloaded for better monitoring. These patients are being provided with government-sponsored oximeters with the instruction of reporting to hospitals if their oxygen saturation level dips below 90%.
Karnataka has received 681 ventilators from the central government under PM CARES funds. Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa informed this during a review meeting over phone with officials regarding increase in ventilator beds in the state. He said that another 1,279 ventilators allotted by the central government will be received during this month. The Chief Minister pointed out that 335 ventilator beds were added last week, including 166 in Bengaluru. The remaining 346 ventilators will be installed by the end of this week. To cater to the patients in ICU and on ventilators, the Chief Minister asked officials to appoint anaesthetics, paramedics and nurses. He also directed them to provide ventilators temporarily to private hospitals treating COVID patients. A report.
Due to increase in COVID-related deaths, Deputy Chief Minister Dr. C.N. Ashwath Narayan has told Bruhat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike Commissioner to appoint a high-level committee to find out the reasons for increase in number of deaths, especially in Bengaluru. During a meeting with the Palike officials today, the Deputy Chief Minister asked whether the deaths are due to delay in treatment or due to procedural delays. He asked the city corporation officials to promptly act on the committee report to reduce the rate of mortality in the city. He has also asked officials to ensure real-time data about COVID hospital bed availability on patients needing ventilators and how many have been discharged. He also asked them to increase RT-PCR and rapid antigen tests in the city. The new COVID cases confirmed today are 6,259 and 110 deaths related to COVID. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
With 1,083 new cases, Kerala continues to report a spike in COVID cases. More from our correspondent.
The State Health Department informed in the official release that among the new cases, 902 persons contracted the virus through contact. Thiruvananthapuram continued to report highest number of cases as 242 new COVID cases were confirmed today. The death toll in the state due to COVID touched 87 as 3 more deaths were confirmed. Bringing to rate relief, 1,021 persons recovered from the infection. The total active COVID cases in Kerala rose to 11,540. Meanwhile, Met Department predicts heavy rain in northern and central Kerala in coming days. Fishermen are warned from venturing into the sea in Kerala and Lakshadweep coast. Mayusha for AR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
In an important decision to bring back normalcy in Mumbai, the city's civic body has eased lockdown norms. From tomorrow, various trade activities have been allowed. Permission has been granted to all shops to open irrespective of the odd-even rule. Malls and marketplaces have also been allowed to function from tomorrow. More from our correspondent.
Under the program Mission Begin Again, BMC is allowed resuming of Mumbai's economic activity to a large extent. Malls and marketplaces will open tomorrow for the first time since March lockdown. Besides, the shops have been allowed to function all days, doing away with the odd-even formula. However, theatres, food courts, restaurants will continue to remain shut. Kitchens of restaurants and food courts will be allowed to operate in malls, wherein only home delivery through aggregators will be allowed. Apart from allowing sale of liquor at shop counters, the BMC has allowed its home delivery as well, but with strict compliance with norms. Referring to the National Directive for COVID-19 Management, the BMC said consumption of liquor, pan and tobacco in public places is prohibited. Devapri Bhattacharjee, AIR News, Mumbai.
In our series Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you the views of the leading medical experts on COVID-19. Talking to AIR News, Dr. Uma Kumar, Head of Rheumatology Department AIIMS, suggested people to follow social distancing, hand hygiene and cough etiquettes.
You call it treatment or you call it prevention. The only thing which helps is social distancing or physical distancing. Along with it, you have like hand hygiene, washing your hands very frequently, and cough etiquettes like while coughing or sneezing, just cover your face and nose. Use tissue paper or cloth, or if you don't have anything, you can just cough into your elbows. Third thing is using the face mask. For a general public, you can use cotton face mask, but it has to be there on your face and nose.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Over 92,000 crore rupees disbursed under 100% emergency credit line guarantee scheme by public and private sector banks. Railways further revises freight policy during Unlock 3.0 to promote economic activities. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 66.30%. Ayodhya fully geared up for Ram Janmabhoomi Pujan tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to take part. And relief and rescue operation intensified in flood-affected areas of Bihar. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will go to Ayodhya city of Uttar Pradesh tomorrow to take part in the Bhumi Pujan function for the construction of Ram Temple. The Bhumi Pujan ceremony will start at 12:30 in the afternoon and culminate at 12:45 p.m. 175 guests, including 135 saints belonging to 135 spiritual traditions, have been invited for the ceremony. The Prime Minister will first have darshan at Sri Hanuman Gadi Mandir, after which he will perform puja of Bhagwan Sri Ram Lalla at Sri Ram Janmabhoomi. It will be followed by Bhumi Pujan and the stage event. Heavy security arrangements are in place in view of the PM's visit, and the borders of Ayodhya city will be sealed from midnight tonight. Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust and Chief Minister of the state Yogi Adityanath have appealed to all Ram Bhakts across the world to organize bhajan, kirtan and prasad distribution in all villages and cities while taking all necessary precautions to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Speaking to AIR News, Mahant of the temple said the entire city is submerged in joy.
आज ऐसा लग रहा है कि जैसे संपूर्ण धरातल राममय हो चुका है और ये जो समय आ रहा है इससे बढ़कर के और हमारे जीवन में कोई समय आ ही नहीं सकता है.
Our correspondent has more details in this report.
The lanes of Ayodhya and ghats of holy Saryu river are illuminated with thousands of earthen lamps. Beautiful rangolis along with a special gate and colorful streets depicting the saga of Ramayana are ready to welcome the Prime Minister. Saffron flags can be seen on almost every house in Ayodhya city. People of the city of Lord Rama are in a festive mood.
डॉक्टर राजेश कुमार शुक्ला, जिस तरह से मंदिर निर्माण का कार्य कल से शुरू होने जा रहा है उसको देखते हुए लग रहा है कि अब ये जो है नगरी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर की नगरी के रूप में उभरेगी. मेरा नाम है धीरज यादव. पहली बात तो इस जन्म में हमको राम मंदिर निर्माण देखने का मौका मिल रहा है. हमारी कितनी पीढ़ियां चली गई, इस विवाद को देखते देखते मोदी जी को दिल से मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं.
Bhajans, kirtans and recitation of Ramcharitmanas have already started in different temples and houses of Ayodhya and other famous temples of the state, including Gorakhnath Temple of Gorakhpur. People are lighting earthen lamps at their houses and even the Chief Minister's house in Lucknow is illuminated with diyas. On the second day of the 3 days long rituals preceding Bhumi Pujan for the construction of Ram Temple, a special 6-hour-long Ramarcha Anushthan was performed today. A special puja was also offered at the shrine of Garhi at historic Hanuman Gadi Temple. The 3 days ritual will culminate with the Bhumi Pujan tomorrow. For AIR, this is Sushil Chandra Tiwari.
Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa has asked all the temples in the state to organize special puja and darshan tomorrow to coincide with Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Temple Bhumi Pujan in Ayodhya. The Hindu Religious Institutions and Charitable Endowments Department has issued an order asking the temple priests to organize the puja for the success of the Bhumi Pujan, unhindered completion of Ram Temple and for the well-being of all citizens in the state. The temples have been asked to ensure social distancing and other norms while performing special puja.
In Himachal Pradesh, Union Minister of Education Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, Chief Minister Jairam Thakur, Union Minister of State for Education Sanjay Dhotre and Union Minister of State for Finance and Corporate Affairs Anurag Singh Thakur laid the foundation stone of Indian Institute of Management IIM at Dhaula Kuan in Sirmaur district through video conferencing today. The first phase of this institute would be completed by spending an amount of 392.51 crore rupees. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Nishank said Union government would provide all possible help to ensure that the institute emerges as the best institute of the region. He added that the tourism, power, industries and ecotourism are the natural potential of the state which need effective management, and this institute would prove a boon in this direction. Chief Minister Jairam Thakur appreciated the efforts of the management for designing the whole complex in traditional Himachali architecture. He said that on the completion, this institute would not only emerge as a premier educational institute but also an added attraction for the tourists. The Union Public Service Commission UPSC has announced the results of Civil Services Examination 2019. A total of 829 candidates have been selected to various civil services through this examination. Pradeep Singh has topped the exam, while Pratibha Verma is the topper among the women candidates. The final result is available on the official website of UPSC. Talking to AIR News, Pradeep Singh said he will work for the poor and deprived sections of the society.
I would like to give credit for this success to my parents, my friends, my relatives. My goal is mainly to work for the poor and the deprived sections of the society.
Pratibha Verma, the topper among the women candidates and third in the overall list, also spoke to AIR News.
I see this success as confirmation of the things I believe in. I wanted to create impact on society. I wanted to bring about improvements in the status of women and education. And this success has confirmed that you are built for that. You have to work towards that. And this success is purely the blessing of God and my elders. Without them, it wouldn't have been possible. And to my parents and my siblings.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated all the bright youngsters who have successfully cleared the Civil Services Examination 2019. Extending his best wishes, Prime Minister said an exciting and satisfying career of public service awaits them. For those youngsters who did not get the desired result in the Civil Services Examination, Prime Minister said he would like to tell them that life is full of several opportunities. He said each and every one of them is hardworking and diligent and wished them the best for their future endeavours.
The Indian Army has kick-started the process to grant permanent commission to eligible women officers nearly 2 weeks after the Defence Ministry approved the proposal. It has asked women officers to apply for permanent commission by the 31st of August this year. Detailed administrative instructions have been issued to all affected women officers, giving out guidelines for submission of applications for consideration by the board. Women officers who have joined the Indian Army through the Women's Special Entry Scheme and Short Service Commission women are being considered, and all of them have been instructed to submit their application forms, option certificate and other related documents to the Army. The centre has laid a lot of emphasis on the development of Jammu and Kashmir. Reforms have been brought in the Union Territory to deliver good governance. A report.
With the aim to reach the last in the queue, there has been 100% saturation of individual beneficiary schemes in Jammu and Kashmir. Individual beneficiary schemes have been targeted for 100% coverage. Schemes like Saubhagya, Ujala, Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, Mission Indradhanush in Jammu and Kashmir have achieved 100% coverage. Under Swachh Bharat Mission, Jammu and Kashmir has been declared open derogation free. J&K is among the leading states and UTs in implementation of Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, Ayushman Bharat. It is also leading in implementation of Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi. 100% coverage also achieved in merit-cum-mean minority scholarships and also in minority pre-matric scholarships. Special focus is being laid on border areas for 100% coverage of welfare schemes, exclusive police recruitment, construction of bunkers along international border or line of control, and through spatial infrastructure development. During COVID-19 crisis, Union Territory Administration took a series of decisions to provide support to the poor and the destitute, in addition to the support provided by Government of India under the Atmanirbhar package. Anupam Mishra, AIR News, Delhi.
Security responsibilities of Kushak Bakula Windpoach Airport in Leh will be handed over to the Central Industrial Security Force CISF from the 5th of August. Keeping COVID-19 in view, after flight operations are completed tomorrow, the induction of CISF will take place at Leh Airport. Due to the pandemic, at present, daily 3 to 4 flights with 400 to 500 passengers are operating on the Leh-Delhi sector in comparison to 13 flights during the non-pandemic times. Ever since civil operations with scheduled flights from 1978, the security responsibilities are with J&K Police and Ladakh Police after bifurcation of police. Early last year, Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone for new passenger terminal along with the Ladakh Police. CRPF was performing security of the airport as the runway is under the control of the Indian Air Force in Leh.
कल से लेह एयरपोर्ट की जो सिक्योरिटी है वो सीआईएसएफ टेक ओवर करने जा रहा है। जब से लेह में सिविल एविएशन शुरू हुआ है 1978 के बाद, ये सिक्योरिटी जो है वो लद्दाख पुलिस या उससे पहले J&K पुलिस के पास हुआ करता था और प्रोटेक्शन पार्ट जो है सेंट्रल पुलिस के पास हुआ करता था। लेकिन कल सारे फंक्शन जो है सीआईएसएफ टेक ओवर करने जा रहा है।
In a ceremony tomorrow, Ladakh Police Inspector General S.S. Khandare will hand over the key of Leh Airport symbolically to hand over the security to DG CISF Rajesh Ranjan. 130 CISF personnel specially trained in aviation security will guard the Leh Airport.
President, Vice President and Prime Minister have expressed grief on the demise of theatre maestro Ibrahim Alkazi. In a tweet, President Ram Nath Kovind said, Ibrahim Alkazi, doyen of Indian theatre, mentored and inspired a generation of artists. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said, Ibrahim Alkazi is credited with reinventing and revolutionizing Indian theatre. He said, as director of National School of Drama, he helped set a new course for theatre in India. Mr. Naidu said, his passing is a great loss to the art and theatre fraternity of India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said Ibrahim Alkazi will be remembered for his efforts to make theatre more popular and accessible across India. Sri Lanka will vote tomorrow to elect 225 members for its 16th parliament with strict health guidelines amidst the pandemic. The voting will begin at 7 a.m. in the morning and continue till 5 in the evening. The counting of votes will be held on Friday and results are expected by late evening on that day. Over 7,450 candidates are in fray for the parliament seats, while around 1.62 crore voters are eligible to exercise their franchise at around 13,000 polling booths.
The flood situation in Bangladesh has improved, with major rivers in the country showing a declining trend over the last 24 hours. According to the latest flood bulletin issued by the Flood Forecasting and Warning Centre of Bangladesh, out of 101 observation points across the four major river basins, water level receded at 69 points, while it increased at 27 points. Back home in Bihar, there is no let-up in the flood situation in the affected areas. Over 64 lakh people of 14 districts spread over 1,152 panchayats are reeling under the impact of flood. The worst affected districts are Darbhanga, Muzaffarpur, Samastipur and Sitamarhi. The swirling water of Gandak, Bagmati and Buri Gandak has engulfed low-lying areas. Affected people who are living in low-lying areas have been advised to move to higher places. 36 people have lost their lives in flood-related accidents during the last 24 hours. Maximum casualties were reported from Darbhanga and Muzaffarpur. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has instructed to conduct corona tests for those who are staying in relief camps. Over 20,000 people are living in relief camps. Relief and rescue operations have been intensified. 33 teams of NDRF and SDRF have been pressed into service. Over 4,50,000 people have been evacuated so far. In all, 1,365 community kitchens have been set up to provide food to affected people.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. It will have a minimum temperature of around 28 degrees Celsius and maximum of 37 degrees. Mumbai will see a generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. The minimum temperature will be 24 and the maximum will be around 28 degrees. Chennai will have a generally cloudy sky and the temperature will hover between 27 and 31 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will see a generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. The minimum temperature in Metropolis will be around 27 while the maximum will be 34 degrees. On to the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature will be 26 in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 34 degrees. The city will see a partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature will be around 19, while the maximum will be 33 degrees. The city will have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards evening or night. Ladakh will have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 15 and 30 degrees Celsius. In Gilgit, the temperature will hover between 17 and 37 degrees. It will see a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards evening or night. In Muzaffarabad, there will be mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards evening or night. The minimum temperature will be 23, while the maximum temperature will be 37 degrees Celsius.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Over 92,000 crore rupees disbursed under 100% emergency credit line guarantee scheme by public and private sector banks. Railways further revises freight policy during Unlock 3.0 to promote economic activities. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 66.30%. Ayodhya fully geared up for Ram Janmabhoomi Pujan tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to take part. And relief and rescue operation intensified in flood-affected areas of Bihar. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And that is all in the evening news. Good night.